What triggered Rachel Zegler's emotional response to the Snow White boycott, sending shockwaves through Disney? With the film facing a backlash that is spiraling out of control, Ziggler points fingers at the public, claiming they're resistant to a modern, empowered Snow White. But is it truly the audience's fault, or is it Disney's narrative-driven agenda that's driving families away? In this video, we'll uncover the hypocrisy of Bob Iger's leadership, dive into Ziggler's controversial new backstory for Snow White, and reveal how these choices could lead to Disney's biggest disaster yet. Stick around to discover what's really happening behind the scenes at Disney and why this may mark a turning point for the company. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to Movie Saga and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. The situation with Bob Iger at the helm of Disney is marked by a clear sense of hypocrisy and inconsistency. As CEO, he often changes his stance on the company's direction, especially regarding various divisions like Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, and the live-action adaptations of beloved animated classics, including the upcoming Snow White set for 2025. Now, Iger shows no signs of retreating from his commitment to DEI. In fact, he's reinforcing it, having recently appointed a new diversity, equity, inclusion supervisor with an impressive salary of $200,000 a year. This move aims to ensure that this ideology is woven into all future live-action remakes throughout the decade and beyond. When it comes to Rachel Zegler, she has not handled the backlash very well. Instead of constructively addressing the criticism, Zegler has opted to blame the public for opposing Disney's narrative. This backlash is particularly pronounced as many families are boycotting the film after a series of public relations disasters during the press tour. What's particularly intriguing is that Ziggler has had a significant influence on the character's backstory in Snow White. She plans to elaborate on this in the weeks to come, but the current narrative paints her as someone who continuously deflects blame onto the general audience. With Disney in a state of panic regarding its live-action remakes, especially with Snow White on the horizon, Ziggler recently addressed the public's perception of the film. She stated, "We are approaching this story in a way that differs significantly from the 1937 animated version. Our goal is to create a movie that truly embodies themes of feminism and empowerment, something I take great pride in as both an actress and an individual. Working with Greta Gerwig has proven to be both challenging and rewarding." Ziggler expresses frustration over the societal resistance to evolving representations of women in major films like Snow White. She believes that the current backlash against the film reflects a broader issue of unwillingness to embrace modern portrayals of female characters. "It's disheartening to see families buying into the narrative that Disney is pushing some sort of ideology. It's simply untrue," she asserts. Ziggler finds the controversy surrounding Snow White's new backstory, where she survives a snowstorm, utterly trivial. "Who honestly cares?" she questions. "Why can't we adapt the source material for contemporary audiences? Just because Snow White is being played by someone with a different ethnic background doesn't mean we're straying too far from the original intent." Ziggler claims that it was her own idea to modify Snow White's backstory, a concept that Gerwig enthusiastically embraced and integrated into the script. She acknowledges a growing trend in which audiences criticize films unless they can see themselves represented. If people can't relate to the characters, they simply disengage, and that's a troubling mindset, she argues. The production has undergone numerous changes, leaving Ziggler feeling as if they've explored multiple narratives within one film. "We're currently revising things, and I truly believe the final product will impress everyone, men, women, children, and beyond. This is an opportunity to showcase the strength of women." To those who reject this evolution, it highlights the work still needed in society regarding representation and acceptance. Ziggler's commentary continues to stir the pot, especially with a full-length trailer set to release next month. Disney is keen to kick off the marketing campaign leading up to the film's debut in late March, aiming for a Thanksgiving rollout to build anticipation. However, behind the scenes, there are significant tensions between Ziggler and co-star Gal Gadot. Reports indicate that their personal and professional relationships are strained, impacting the film's creative direction. To address these challenges, Disney is reportedly investing an additional $20 to $25 million into reshoots, on top of the already hefty $300 million budget allocated for Snow White. The financial stakes for Snow White are staggering, and it's becoming increasingly clear that this film could potentially flop even harder than the Acolyte series. The extensive budget, combined with the apparent disconnect between the film's vision and audience expectations, suggests that this project may not resonate with viewers. Rachel Zegler is already shifting blame onto those who oppose the film, particularly families who reject its narrative. While she insists that their concerns stem from misinformation, she appears to be overlooking the core issue. The film is perceived by many as being rooted in ideology. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, has made it clear that diversity, equity, and inclusion will take precedence over storytelling. This aligns with the leaked Zoom call from about a year and a half ago, where executives discussed implementing specific quotas for representation in every Disney film and series, including LGBTQ themes and feminist messages. These intentions reflect a narrative strategy that Zegler seems to deny, yet it underpins much of Disney's recent output. In her statements, Zegler expresses her pride in playing Snow White, rejecting any guilt associated with the backlash. She claims that criticism of the film is driven by bigotry and sexism. This kind of negativity needs to stop, she insists. We're doing something innovative here, and while there will be similarities to the 1937 version, the core of our story is meant to empower women in 2024. We want to show how one can be a warrior and a leader. Zegler believes her portrayal will serve as a beacon for women seeking representation, emphasizing that Snow White can be an icon for strength and resilience. She argues that the criticism directed at the film is merely a distraction from their empowering message. This is about delivering a positive narrative to women everywhere, and we're determined to get that message across, she concludes. It seems that Rachel Zegler is losing touch with reality and how the real world operates. People who oppose agenda-driven content are unlikely to support a film created by a studio that prioritizes such narratives. This is precisely why many families and younger audiences are choosing to boycott Snow White outright. For those just learning about this upcoming adaptation, it's essential to recognize that the script has been entirely crafted by Greta Gerwig, who firmly believes that feminism, LGBTQ representation, and other social agendas should take precedence over storytelling. This mindset has become a significant aspect of contemporary storytelling in the Disney universe, leading many fans to question whether this adaptation will be a true reimagining of the beloved story. For Disney, the stakes couldn't be higher. Zegler's comments and the narrative choices in Snow White have become a focal point for discussions around representation and the expectations of modern storytelling. It remains to be seen whether the backlash will significantly impact box office numbers. What's undeniable is that Rachel Zegler's approach to handling criticism may just backfire, further alienating audiences who were once excited about the film. With a mix of hope and skepticism, we'll watch as Snow White unfolds and see how audiences respond to Disney's latest endeavor. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Movie Saga and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. In a world where storytelling often takes a backseat to ideology, what does the future hold for beloved tales like Snow White?